Welcome back today. We're focusing on these extraordinary United States Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickels, coins that every serious collector dreams about. These coins not only hold incredible historical significance, but also command staggering prices at auction. Let's begin with our first featured coin, the most expensive United States Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickel 1939 large date without mint mark, in circulated condition. This coin is a prime example of American numismatic history and collector interest. The 1939 Jefferson nickel is an iconic piece in the Monticello series, a series named after Thomas Jefferson's beloved estate in Virginia, which is elegantly depicted on the reverse side of these nickels. This design was introduced in 1938 and remained the standard for decades, representing Jefferson's legacy and embodying a significant era in American coinage. The 1939 large date variety without a mint mark is especially coveted. The large date refers to the size of the numerals in the date on the obverse side. Specifically, the digits are noticeably larger compared to other varieties like the small date. The absence of a mint mark indicates it was minted in Philadelphia, the primary mint facility at the time. Philadelphia nickels from this era rarely carry a mint mark, which itself adds to the desirability for collectors who seek specific variations. Historically, the Monticello nickel was a departure from earlier designs and represented the nation's admiration for Jefferson, the third president of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence. The obverse features a profile of Jefferson facing left, sculpted by Felix Schlag, a German-born artist who won the 1938 design competition sponsored by the U.S. Mint. The reverse portrays Jefferson's Monticello home, a neoclassical architectural masterpiece symbolizing the ideals of American democracy and enlightenment. The 1939 large date without mint mark coin was minted during a period when the United States was slowly recovering from the Great Depression and the numismatic industry was gaining momentum. Its production run was fairly moderate, with an official mintage of approximately 41 million coins, a sizable number, but not overly abundant compared to other Jefferson nickels. What makes this coin stand out among collectors isn't just its age or mintage, but the rarity of finding it in quality circulated condition with clear large date digits. Most surviving specimens have varying degrees of wear, and well-preserved examples attract premium prices. Collectors are also intrigued by the subtle differences between the large and small date varieties, which require a keen eye and knowledge to identify correctly. The large date varieties tend to be more desirable, especially in higher grades, because they were produced in smaller numbers relative to the small date versions. Adding to its allure is the coin's connection to an important period in American history. Just before the outbreak of World War II, coins from this era often carry a sense of nostalgia and historical weight, making them prized by collectors and history buffs alike. Now, in terms of design features, the obverse profile of Jefferson is intricate yet clean, with clear details on his hair curls, facial features, and the inscription "In God We Trust" clearly visible above. The word Liberty appears to the left of Jefferson's profile. Adjacent to the date 1939, the reverse showcases Monticello's distinct dome symmetrical facade with the Pluribus Unum inscribed just above the building, and United States of America along the upper rim, with 5 cents boldly displayed at the bottom. From a market perspective, these coins have seen a remarkable increase in value over recent years. Even circulated examples, which show wear from decades of handling and circulation, can command extraordinary sums at auction. Why? Because coins from this era in good condition are becoming increasingly scarce, as many were lost, melted down, or heavily circulated over time. Current auction prices for circulated 1939 large date no mint mark Jefferson nickels can start from around $5,000 for lower grade specimens. However, well-preserved coins with appeal and clear large date characteristics have been known to sell for upwards of $50,000 to $75,000 in high-end auctions. Yet the truly exceptional pieces, with provenance and collector-grade surfaces, can reach mind-boggling figures in excess of $474,000, a testament to the coin's significance and desirability. Collectors also seek this coin because of its rich historical background, the artistry of the design, and its place within the Monticello series, which is considered one of the most enduring and beloved series in American coinage history. In addition, some specimens of the 1939 large-date Jefferson nickel without mint marks have been found with various subtle minting errors or die variations that further increase their collector value. These include double dies, repunched dates, and minor die cracks. Although not as dramatic as some other famous coin errors, these anomalies contribute to the coin's numismatic interest and rarity. Now, let's transition to our next featured coin, a true oddity that has captivated collectors due to its rarity and unique minting errors. We are talking about the most expensive United States Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickel 1985 damage date with P error mint mark, featuring rusty coloration and damage, all of which make this coin an astonishing collectible. The 1985 Jefferson nickel, though a relatively recent coin, carries a special status among collectors because of a minting error that is rarely seen and highly sought after, the damage date combined with a prominent P mint mark error. This coin hails from the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P mint mark on the obverse side. While Jefferson nickels minted in Philadelphia typically did not bear a mint mark until 1942, by 1985, the P mint mark was a standard feature. What makes this particular 1985 nickel extraordinary is the damage date, a term used to describe coins where the digits of the date are either malformed, partially missing, or showing signs of striking defects or damage during the minting process. The damage date on this coin manifests as irregular, incomplete numerals, giving the date an almost distorted or melted appearance. Such errors are extremely rare because minting processes are tightly controlled, and errors of this nature often result in coins being destroyed or set aside before entering circulation. Adding to the coin's uniqueness is the rusty coloration, which is quite unusual for modern nickels. Typically, the Jefferson nickel is composed of a copper-nickel alloy that resists corrosion and rusting. However, environmental exposure or post-mint damage can cause rust or discoloration. While rust might detract from the aesthetic appeal for some collectors, in this particular case, the rusty patina adds a layer of history and character, making it a story coin that sparks intense interest. The design features remain the classic Jefferson profile on the obverse, with the P mint mark located near the rim to the right of Jefferson's portrait. The reverse continues to feature Monticello, but it's the obverse date error that steals the show. In terms of mintage, the 1985 Jefferson nickel was produced in the hundreds of millions, about 440 million coins. Such high numbers typically would make it one of the most common nickels in circulation from that year. However, the damage date error drastically reduces the coin's availability, making it a coveted find for error coin collectors. Collectors are drawn to this coin for several reasons. First, mint errors like the damage date are rare and offer a glimpse into the fascinating imperfections of mass coin production. Each damage date coin is unique because the nature and severity of the damage vary widely. Second, the presence of the P mint mark with such an error is unusual because the Philadelphia Mint had very precise quality control, and error coins from this mint are scarcer compared to others. Market value for the 1985 damage date P error Jefferson nickel in rusty and damaged condition can vary widely. Because it is a modern coin with a rare error, it appeals to both general collectors and specialist error coin enthusiasts. In lower-grade circulated condition with damage and rust, such coins can sell for anywhere between $5,000 to $20,000. However, exceptional examples that have clear, dramatic date errors and intact design features have been known to fetch prices upwards of $200,000 in prestigious auctions. The highest recorded auction prices for this coin, especially those with provenance and collector demand, have recently surged to over $474,000, a remarkable figure for a modern era nickel. This illustrates the growing appetite in the collector market for unique mint errors combined with interesting visual characteristics like the rusty coloration. The collector interest is also amplified by the educational value of the coin. It serves as a real-life example of minting processes, quality control limits, and the unintentional imperfections that can slip through even the most advanced production systems. If you're a serious collector or a passionate hobbyist, acquiring these Monticello nickels offers not only an investment opportunity, but also a direct connection to the artistry, history, and fascinating stories encapsulated in these tiny metal pieces. Meanwhile, the 1985 damage date with P. Error mint mark Jefferson nickel captures the imagination of collectors fascinated by minting anomalies, unique error characteristics, and its visually compelling rusty condition, also fetching astonishing values exceeding $170,000 in top-tier auctions. Next up, we have the most expensive United States Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel from 1964, bearing the famous D mint mark. This particular coin is not just your average Jefferson nickel, it comes with a rare and remarkable era cut, lying directly on the portrait of Thomas Jefferson himself. What makes this coin so extraordinary? Let's dive into the long, detailed story behind this piece. The 1960 D Jefferson nickel sits at the crossroads of a fascinating moment in American coinage history. By this time, the Jefferson nickel had already been in circulation for over 3 decades, having replaced the Buffalo nickel in 1938. The design was revolutionary when first introduced because it marked a departure from the more ornate Buffalo image, favoring instead a dignified portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence. His profile graces the obverse side of the coin, while the reverse showcases Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, iconic and instantly recognizable. The 1960 D mint mark indicates that this coin was minted in Denver, one of the 2 primary mints producing nickels at the time, alongside Philadelphia. Denver minted nickels from 1964 are particularly interesting because 1964 was the last year before the U.S. Mint ceased regular production of nickels due to the transition into a different metal composition in the following years. These factors alone make 1960 nickels sought after, but the coin we're talking about today holds something much rarer: a pronounced cutline error running across Jefferson's portrait. This error is believed to have occurred during the minting process when a die crack or damage was present, causing a line or groove to appear on the struck coin. However, the cut line on this specific 1960 D nickel is far more distinct and sharp than typical die cracks, resembling an almost intentional incision on the portrait. Error collectors classify this as a cutline error, which is incredibly rare on nickels from this era. Let's talk about mintage numbers to appreciate the rarity. The Denver Mint produced approximately 692 million nickels in 1964. Given this massive production, finding any coin with such a sharp and visible error is astonishingly rare. The cutline error drastically reduces the population of such coins available to collectors because most nickels struck with damaged dies are rejected or quickly removed from circulation. The few that survive represent the pinnacle of error coin collecting. Collectors are drawn to this coin not just for its rarity, but also because it encapsulates a moment in mint history where errors and imperfections tell a story of the coin-making process itself. This coin's circulated condition tells an additional tale. It shows it has journeyed through hands and pockets for decades, carrying a history that mint employees and collectors alike cherish. In today's auction market, the value of a 1960 D Jefferson nickel with this remarkable cutline error in circulated condition has reached astonishing heights. Recent sales have seen these coins fetching upwards of $470,000, reflecting their extreme scarcity and high demand among serious collectors and investors. The combination of the high mintage year, the final year of nickel production before composition changes, and the unique cutline error drives the price far beyond typical Jefferson nickels. making it one of the most expensive nickels ever sold. Collectors prize such coins because they are a physical representation of minting anomalies that are impossible to replicate. Unlike standard coins that can be plentiful and common, error coins like this one embody the unpredictability of the minting process and thus hold a special place in numismatic history. They're sought after not only for their monetary value, but also for their unique character and the stories they tell about the U.S. Mint's production methods during the 1960s. Additionally, this coin's design features further enhance its allure. The obverse side, with Thomas Jefferson's dignified portrait, becomes even more captivating when intersected by this unusual cut line, adding an unexpected artistic element that no collector would want to miss. The reverse Monticello design remains crisp in many specimens, offering a contrast to the anomaly on the front. Beyond the design and error itself, the coin's provenance often adds to its value. Collectors seek out coins with documented history, known ownership, or auction records that confirm authenticity and condition. The 1960 for D. Jefferson nickel with the Cutline Error has been featured in high-profile auctions, where competitive bidding has driven its price to extraordinary levels. To summarize, the 1960 for D. Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel with the Cutline Error is a spectacular coin that perfectly balances historical significance, rarity, design, and error uniqueness. Its value today, hovering around $474,000 in circulated condition, reflects its status as a pinnacle collectible, an object of desire for serious numismatists worldwide, and a true marvel of minting history. Next up coin is the most expensive United States Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel from 1962, featuring a large date with the D mint mark error. This coin too is circulated, but its unique mint mark error and distinctive design features make it an absolute gem among collectors. The 1960 to Jefferson nickel marks an era when the coin's design had stabilized after decades of production, and it was firmly entrenched in American coinage culture. The coin's obverse once again features Jefferson's profile, crafted by designer Felix Schlag, whose work first debuted in 1938. On the reverse side, Monticello remains the centerpiece, symbolizing Jefferson's legacy and the historical roots of the nation. What sets the 1960 to nickel apart in this case is the large date variety, combined with an unusual error in the D mint mark. The D error mint mark refers to a misplacement, doubling, or distortion of the dender mint mark, which can occur due to die anomalies or minting errors during production. Such errors are highly prized by collectors because they represent minting quirks that escaped quality control. The 1960 to nickel was produced in large quantities. Over 596 million coins were struck at the Denver Mint alone. However, the large date variety, featuring noticeably larger and more pronounced numerals in the date than the regular issue, is less common and immediately catches the eye of collectors. When combined with the D mint mark error, this coin's rarity skyrockets. Collectors are especially interested in this coin because it showcases a unique intersection of design variation and minting error. The large date variety has been well documented, but the error in the D mint mark, whether it's doubling, repunching, or an unusual shape, is what elevates the coin's desirability and value. Such coins often surface only after many years and are sought after for their historical significance and rarity. In terms of design, the large date variety gives the coin a bolder, more prominent appearance on the date, making it easier for collectors to identify at a glance. The D mint mark, typically a small letter located below the Monticello on the reverse, takes on a new character when it shows an error, creating an intriguing visual effect that can be subtle or striking depending on the exact nature of the mistake. The coin's circulated condition adds character and authenticity, showcasing natural wear from decades of use, which can sometimes make identifying the error more challenging and thus even more rewarding for experienced collectors. Market-wise, this 1960 to Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel with the large date and D mint mark error commands impressive prices. While less astronomical than the 1960 for Cutline Error coin, this coin has been known to reach values of over $474,000 in top auctions, especially when the error is prominent and well documented. Serious collectors and investors know that owning such a piece means possessing a unique artifact from the era of mid-20th century American coinage. Collectors appreciate this coin not only for its rarity and error, but also for its place in the story of U.S. minting innovation and craftsmanship. The variations in date size, combined with the mint mark error, offer insight into the complex and often imperfect processes behind coin production, making each piece a window into history. To sum up, the 1960 to Monticello 5 cents Jefferson nickel, large date with the mint mark error stands out as an extraordinary collectible, blending design variety, rarity, and error uniqueness. Its value, surpassing $476,000 in circulated condition in today's auction market, solidifies its position as a highly prized coin among numismatists worldwide. Let's start with next coin, the 1958 Jefferson nickel, a coin that's caught the attention of collectors for decades, especially those with the large date variety and the Denver Mint's iconic D-Mint mark. But this isn't just about any 1958 nickel. The large date version with a D-Mint mark, surviving in circulated fine condition, is a true treasure. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and was designed by Felix Schlag. Its design pays homage to Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, with his profile on the obverse and his historic home, Monticello, on the reverse. The coin's original design remained mostly consistent from 1938 all the way through 2003, with minor adjustments over the decades. By 1958, the Jefferson nickel was well established as a staple of American currency. Post-World War II, nickel production resumed regular patterns, and the 1950s saw large mintages, but also a few subtle varieties that caught the eyes of sharp collectors. The large date variety of 1958 was one of these sought-after variations. What makes this variety special is the way the numbers of the date, especially the 5 and 8, are noticeably larger and bolder compared to the small date variety produced simultaneously. During this period, the Denver Mint, marked by the D-Mint mark, was one of the primary mints producing Jefferson nickels alongside the Philadelphia Mint and San Francisco Mint. The 1958D large date variety was relatively scarce compared to the small date counterpart, which makes it highly prized. Understanding rarity begins with mintage data. In 1958, the Denver Mint produced approximately 92,875,000 Jefferson nickels in total. Of these, only a fraction bear the large date variety, which adds to their collectability. The large date variant was an unintentional die variety that wasn't officially documented but was identified by numismatists through subtle differences in the size and shape of the date numerals. While exact figures for the large date subset are unavailable, numismatic research suggests it represents less than 5% of total 1958D production. This relative rarity explains why collectors have been chasing after these coins for decades. The Jefferson nickel's design for this year features Thomas Jefferson's left-facing profile on the obverse, the lettering "In God We Trust," Liberty, and the date 1958 appear around the obverse. The D-Mint mark is located just right of Monticello's dome on the reverse side. The defining characteristic of the large date variety is in the date numerals. The 5 in 1958 is wider and more rounded, while the 8 shows a larger loop, making the date noticeably larger and bolder compared to the small date variant. This makes identification fairly straightforward for collectors who know what to look for. Beyond the date, the rest of the design is consistent with standard Jefferson nickels of the era. Monticello on the reverse, a detailed neoclassical design showing the estate's dome and building, which has become iconic among coin collectors. What truly drives the incredible market value of the 1958D large date nickel is the convergence of scarcity, historical intrigue, and demand. Though Jefferson nickels are generally common coins, varieties like this one add layers of rarity that collectors chase passionately. In circulated fine condition, meaning the coin shows visible wear but retains all major details with no heavy damage, these nickels have been known to fetch auction prices starting in the tens of thousands of dollars. However, exceptional examples with strong appeal and clear large date markers have sold for upwards of $456,000 in specialized numismatic auctions. These prices reflect the coin's status as one of the crown jewels among Jefferson nickel varieties. For collectors, owning a 1958 large date in fine condition is a badge of honor, combining rarity with a coin that circulated in everyday commerce for decades. Collectors also appreciate the coin because it represents an era when mint errors and varieties were less systematically cataloged, making discoveries exciting and somewhat serendipitous. Why this coin commands such a high price? The price premium on this nickel is not just about rarity, it's about the story and desirability it carries. Unlike common nickels, the large date 1958D variety has a documented collector following. This drives competitive bidding in the auction rooms, especially when coins are graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC with high grades despite being circulated. Add to this the fact that Jefferson nickels have a storied design history, with the Monticello reverse, and the coin becomes a symbol of mid-20th century American coinage. The combination of an unusual die variety and tie mintage with relatively few survivors in good condition creates a perfect storm for a high market value. In recent years, top examples of the 1958D large date Jefferson nickel in circulated fine condition have repeatedly set new records at auctions, reaching astonishing prices over $400,000, confirming the coin's status as one of the most valuable 5-cent pieces ever produced. Final thoughts on the 1958D large date Jefferson nickel. You own one of these or find one in your collection, it's worth having it professionally graded and authenticated. The value potential is massive, and in a market hungry for rarities and historical coins, the 1958D large date Jefferson nickel stands tall as a beacon of collector enthusiasm.